What's up, guys? It's Adam here, aka Anti-Cena Guy. And you read this title correctly. WWE Royal Rumble 1989 review. We're going old school tonight, everybody. This one was requested by a very polite subscriber of mine, known as CM Punk Fan. I'll have the link to his channel in the description box. Please check that out and please subscribe to him. Well, anyway, we're in Royal Rumble season. 2 weeks away to the Royal Rumble of 2024. And I recently did a review on the Royal Rumble 2000, which everyone really enjoyed. And I says if anyone's got any particular requests that they want me to review, and make sure that they get plenty of thumbs up, so therefore I'll answer them. Well, anyway, CM Punk Fan requested me to review this one right here, the Royal Rumble 1989. Of course, this is the Tag Classics, which Silver Vision presented on DVD all those times ago in like HMV and all those other video stores. This is a combination of the Royal Rumble 1989 and 1990. Okay, everybody. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this pay-per-view right now. And after each match, I'm going to make a separate recording and tell you exactly how I feel about each match. Now, before I get stuck into this, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I like old school wrestling. Okay, a lot of people don't like old school wrestling because they complain about how unrealistic it looked, you know, because back in those days, you know, they used to hit each other slow, particularly Hulk Hogan, you know, he wrestled old school, you know, how they used to, like, hit each other slow, put themselves in, like, different submissions slowly and all that other kind of thing. Well, that was old school wrestling. That's the way wrestling was back then, you know, and I know they won't get away with that type of wrestling today. If you put that style of wrestling back and put it on TV, it won't work, you know, despite there's still replays of, like, WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 4, that still comes on the TV to this very day, and we still get pretty high views, you know, so old school wrestling isn't dead, you know, and I like to watch some of these old school wrestling pay-per-views. I mean, the Royal Rumble 1989, geez, I'd be 2 years old when that came out, so it was before I started even watching wrestling. I mean, I started watching wrestling when I was 5 years old, you know, so this is like before I became a wrestling fan, you know, but like I say, I'm now 36 years of age and I've now collected all the old school wrestling DVDs and Blu-rays, and like I says, Royal Rumble 1989 is one that I do have on DVD, and I remember watching it back years ago, but I can't remember when, but I'm going to watch it right now because it's been requested. And after each one, I'm going to stop and tell my honest opinion about it. So, let's watch some old school Royal Rumble 1989. It'll be nice to see some old faces, you know, from the past WWF days, the glory days. This is back in the days when it was Hulk Hogan, the Honky Tonk Man, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Bushwhackers, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, you know, so it'd be good to watch some old school wrestling. So I'm going to click off this video right now. I'm going to watch the first match and I'll get back to you. Okay, first match, here we go. Okay. The first match, everybody. By the way, this the exact date of this pay-per-view was January 15th of 1989. And it took place in Houston, Texas, you know, with a crowd of 19,000 fans. That's the first thing I want to point out. Now, in the first match, Jim Duggan and the Hart Foundation defeated Dino Bravo and the Fabulous Rogues. A 2 out of 3 falls match. So this was like on for 15 minutes long. Now, when this match first opened up, I was like, Jesus, this is going to be really old school. But, you know, when they mentioned like the Hart Foundation, of course, it was Bret Hart and Jim the Amberlight Hart. And, of course, we all know who Hacksaw Jim Duggan is. Oh, you know. I've met Bret Hart and I've met Hacksaw Jim Duggan in person in real life. You know, they're both nice, really nice people. So it was nice to see them back in their young days, you know, squaring off against this tag team of Dino Bravo and Fabulous Rogues. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, Jim Duggan and the Hart Foundation were like the baby faces of this team. You know, they lost the first 4, but they got victory over in the final 4 because Hacksaw Jim Duggan used the 2x4 to hit the opponent, and Bret Hart went for the cover, and they tried to break up the cover, but not in time, and therefore the winning team was the Hart Foundation and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And the match itself was really old school, you know, but pretty hard hitting. Pretty hard hitting. I mean, for an old school wrestling show, I mean, it was pretty hard hitting, and it was a great little opener for a Royal Rumble. You know, if you're a big fan of old school wrestling, like, let's say my old man, you know, who prefers the old days of old school wrestling, because my old man's like reaching like his 78 years of age, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this was a really pretty good match. I've got no complaints about this. I mean, it was old school, yes, but it was nice to see the superstars like the Hart Foundation and Jim Duggan back in their youth days, you know, wrestling in competition like this. So, nice little opener to the Royal Rumble. It was a 15-minute long. It was a 2 out of 3 falls. You know, so it was a good little opener to this pay-per-view, and let's see what happens after the next match. Let's get on with it. For the next part, we had Ravishing Rick Rude versus the Ultimate Warrior in a pose down. This segment was fucking hilarious. I mean, obviously, we all know what the competition was. The competition is where each superstar had to do a fucking pose down with their bodies, and the crowd had to fucking choose who the best pose down winner is out of the two, obviously. Obviously, Ravishing Rick Rude was the heel, Ultimate Warrior was the babyface. Of course, we all know that Ultimate Warrior is going to get, you know, the most votes from the crowd. But it was a very funny segment. I mean, and it was fucked up, man. I mean, they did their body poses and, you know, etc. And, of course, there was a part where Bobby Heenan... This part was fucking confusing. Bobby Heenan sprays Ultimate Warrior in the face, which looked like water or something. But when it sprays in the Ultimate Warrior's face, it doesn't affect him. And then that's when Ravishing Rick Rude hits him with a gym bar and chokes out the Ultimate Warrior. You know, out of jealousy that Ultimate Warrior got more cheers than him, and then he runs backstage, and then fucking Ultimate Warrior was hilarious, you know, with his usual poses and his usual fucking facial expressions, you know, and he goes fucking ballistic and starts throwing people over the top rope, and then he runs right after fucking Ravishing Rick Rude out the fucking arena. And this segment was just so fucking funny. I mean, you know, hats off to fucking Ultimate Warrior. I mean, it was nice to see this little segment, you know, some old school faces that I was familiar with, like Ravishing Rick Rude and Ultimate Warrior. I grew up watching those two when I was a kid. You know, so it was really great just to see these two in the same ring at the same time, doing a funny segment like this. But Ultimate Warrior was a fucking killer in this. I mean, the way he was fucking throwing everybody. I mean, that scene was fucked up though, where he got sprayed in the eyes and Ultimate Warrior just carried on posing like as if nothing happened. So I don't know if that was a fuck up on Ultimate Warrior's behalf, you know. He was supposed to act like his eyes were stinging him, but the fact that it didn't really affect him. And nothing really happened until he received the hit from behind from Ravishing Rick Rude. So that scene, that bit was a little bit, you know, fucked up. You know, that could have been played out and acted out a little bit better. But next match, I believe it's a women's title match. So yeah, that was good for shits and giggles. So next match, a women's title match, and I'll be right back after when it's over. Peace out. Joining me now, the Doctor of Style, Slick, and I would say... Okay, in the next match, Rockin' Robin, the women's champion, defeated Judy Martin by pinfall to retain the women's championship. Good little women's title match, no complaints there. Sensational Sherry was there, may she rest in peace. And she was there on the mic before the match saying that she's going to challenge the winner of the match, you know. But for a women's match in the old school days, it was pretty good, you know, pretty good. There was a lot of hard-hitting moves, especially with the slamming on the back and, you know, and all the bumps. You know, I enjoyed this match. I mean, it went on for quite a long pace, and but like I say, we're going back ages here, back in the 80s. This is before I knew any of these people. But, you know, Rockin' Robin and Judy Martin and Sensational Sherry, no doubt they've inspired lots of women in the WWE today, you know. Even before the likes of Sasha Banks and Trish Stratus and all that. I mean, we're talking like when Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah were around, you know what I mean? So, good women's title match. Like I say, Rockin' Robin retained, and now Sensational Sherry wants her number one contendership. You know what I mean? So, good little women's title match. Let's carry on. Whoa. And in the main event, Big John Studd wins the 1989 Royal Rumble by throwing Virgil over the top rope. What makes me laugh is that this was 1989. And the fact of seeing Virgil being thrown over the top rope just makes me laugh, because I've met Virgil. I met him like 6 years ago, you know, and he hasn't changed a freaking bit. But I enjoyed this Royal Rumble. Like I say, it was a very old school Royal Rumble, but it was just nice to see the old faces. I mean, they even threw an angle in here where it came to the end of Mega Powers between the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan, with Sensational Sherry thrown... sorry, not Sensational Sherry, sorry. Miss Elizabeth thrown into the equation. You know, I mean... It was a good Royal Rumble to watch. I mean, it was like I said, it was old school, but it was like a very enjoyable old school Royal Rumble. I'd like to thank that subscriber to who recommended this, because like I say, it's Royal Rumble in 2 weeks, and just watching an old classic Royal Rumble like this just gets you like really in the mood for it. And yeah, Big John Studd won. You know, Hulk Hogan was in the match, Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake Roberts, the $1 Million Man, the Bushwhackers, all the old school wrestling stars, you know, and it was just really great to see them, you know. But like I said, I'll be 2 years old when this came out, so obviously I didn't watch it live or anything like that. I never started watching the pay-per-views live until I was like 5 years old. So overall, really satisfied with the pay-per-view. Let's go over it one by one. Like I said, there was 19,000 in attendance. It took place in Houston, Texas. Like I say, Jim Duggan and the Hart Foundation defeated Dino Bravo and the Fabulous Rogues, 2 out of 3 falls. It was like a 15-minute match, but like I say, it was a good opener. Learned some really good technical wrestling. We had a women's championship match, Rockin' Robin and defeating Judy Martin, and Sensational Sherry would challenge the winner. Like I say, the shits and giggles pose down between the Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude. I said that was the only fuck up of the pay-per-view, the fact that Ultimate Warrior had no reaction whatsoever, being sprayed in the eyes. I mean, I think he was meant to act, you know, in agony, in pain, you know, so that Ravishing Rick Rude could attack him with that gym bar, but he didn't show any type of hurt or anything like that when he got sprayed in the eyes, you know. So that was a fuck up on Ultimate Warrior's behalf. You know, and the Royal Rumble itself was a great Royal Rumble. It was a great little watch. I mean, I don't mind watching this type of wrestling, everybody. I still get a kick out of it. It's like being a little kid again and reliving the good times, you know what I mean? I know they won't get away with this sort of style of wrestling in today's day and age, but to tell you the truth, this Royal Rumble was better than some of the matches they showed in the PG era, and that's no fucking joke. I'd rather watch this Royal Rumble more than WrestleMania 29. I'd rather watch this Royal Rumble more than the greatest Royal Rumble of all time when Braun Strowman won it. You know what I mean? So, there's loads of pay-per-views that I'd pick to watch over than this Royal Rumble 1989. You know what I mean? So, it was a good little watch. You know, it was good to see the old atmosphere, you know, with the red, white and blue ropes, you know, the old-fashioned colouring of the ring apron, you know, some of the older toys, some of that old school wrestling, you know. And, yeah, like I said, it was a great watch. You know, it was a great watch. Really great to, like, experience, you know, what it was like being a little kid again. You know, that basically, that's how I see this Rumble, you know. And thanks again for sending that in. If you've got any requests, anybody, or anything you want to say, please leave them in the comment section below. And like I say, if you want to get plenty of thumbs up, and the more thumbs up you get, the more than likely your request gets granted and do a review on a pay-per-view that you want. But thanks for watching this, everybody. And like I say, leave a comment below and don't forget to send a subscription to that person who requested this video. Thanks, everyone. Peace out.